There he goes again.
Yeah, baby!
My little buddy here is exceedingly excited because he just switched to Central Pacific Bank.
It's epic!
Without CPB, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
All the places we can go. Aloha, guys. Welcome back to Uncut Hawaii, presented by Central Pacific Bank and Hawaiian Airlines. I'm Kolby.
And I'm Andrew. And this is the podcast where we get to chat with Hawaii's most interesting and innovative creators, entrepreneurs, and change makers. And shout out to Tuesdays. We're here recording in their beautiful space. Thank you, Brandon and Johnny, for opening up your space to us. It's an awesome spot. If you're ever in Waikoloa, come for wine tastings and their other special events. We're recording this less than a week after the recent wildfires that happened on Maui. So we want to say our hearts are with you guys and everyone affected. And, you know, our guest today, Aunty Pua Case, such a special person and well-known all around the world. And we're so grateful to have her on today to just share her message.
Yeah, I think it was a really good, timing was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
She is just so wise and powerful in the way she speaks, but also like a hug. And so we were just so grateful to be able to spend time with her. Aunty Pua Case has been fighting for Mauna Kea for over 10 years on the front lines and behind the scenes on day to day. She started Mauna Kea Education and Awareness, and she's amazing. She's a change maker for sure. One of our most powerful leaders that we have in Hawaii. And so we're very honored to spend some time with her. And it was a great episode.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, 12 o'clock.
Nā au mākua mai ka la hiki a ka lākau, mai ka hoʻokuʻi a ka hālawai. Nā au mākua ia ka hina koa ia ka hina alo, ia ka akau I ka lani. O ki hai ka lani, o e ka lani, nunulu I ka lani, ka holo I ka lani. Eia nā pulapula o ko o Mauna Kea. E mālama o ko ia mākou. E ulu I ka lani, e ulu I ka honua, e ulu I ka pai ʻāina o Hawaii. E ho mai ka ike, e ho mai ka ikaika, e ho mai ke aka mai, e ho mai ka mau popopono, e ho mai ka ike pāpālua, e ho mai ka mana.
Aunty Pua Case, welcome to Uncut Hawaii. Will you share with us what we just listened to?
Aloha mai kākou o Pua Case ko uinoa o Mauna Kea ku'u Mauna. What we were just listening to is the pule called Na Au Makua. And the reason that we are listening to that today is because starting yesterday, there is a 10-day an anahulu of collective prayer, a request that has come out from Kumu Hula of Maui, so that across the ʻāina and really beyond the ʻāina, you are able to join your voice and your prayer, which we have seen throughout the movements that we have been involved in, is most powerful in uplifting, in requesting for what we need, and really in moving forward. So Na Au Makua is one of the standard prayers that we do to ask for that which we need. E ho mai ka ike, ka ikaika, ka maupopopono, ka ike pāpālua, all of those things, understanding of what is occurring, even in the most challenging of times, the strength, the spiritual power that we need, the vision to move forward. So that is what we start with today in collaboration and connection to the people of Maui and across the ʻāina in this collective prayer.
And we'll post that in the show notes so people can follow along too, and they can listen on their devices or whatever they have, and they can at 12 o'clock until next week, Tuesday, the 22nd.
Yes, the 22nd.
And at noon, then we all listen to that.
And you can really do that anywhere. Like yesterday when we started, to be honest, we did it in Waimea in the Thelma Parker Gym, because that is where we had gathered to hold our papa hula, our hula class. And at 12, we just stopped everything and we sat there and we just thought of all the people that we know and that we don't know who are affected. and we just started to pule. So really, it's anywhere where you can gather by yourself or with others and pray for Lahaina and pray for Maui.
Yeah. Well, I'm really thankful that you're here today. We have been talking about getting you on the podcast, and then everything happened with Maui, and then we're just like, well, actually, this is a good time to have you on because you're just like a powerful leader, but at the same time, every time I see you or talk with you, it feels like a hug at the same time. So I think that's what we all need right now. You were sharing like some stories of you have ʻOhana friends in Lahaina on the ground. Like, do you want to share anything about, you know, what you've heard about things over there?
Sure. You know, there's so much when you're on another island. I can really imagine when we were on Mauna Kea and people just flew in, you know, people just felt the need to be there. And it really is understandable when you're on the other island because there are those moments when you think, maybe I should just go there. Like we're trying to get lithium batteries over to the Mauna Kea medics who are now on the ground there. And for a second, you think, should I just fly it over on Mokulele, you know? And we feel that tug to be there because others have shown up for us when we have made a call out. So I think it begins with what is the call out and who to listen to when the call out comes. Because yes, on social media, there's so many people posting their personal experiences, posting from an organizational point of view. So you have to look for the accounts. What I do personally, and I only speak for myself here, I look for the accounts that I know I can trust, like the accounts that are the voice of the people. So I look at who's the day-by-day providing of what is needed, what is happening, what we can do, when not to do something, when enough is enough of a certain thing, and then we shift to something else. So it's about really discerning which accounts you're going to follow. And so luckily for me, I follow my daughters. Hāwane Music, Protect Mauna Kea, because they're gathering all the reliable accounts. And when I say reliable, I just mean that the accounts of those who we've had a relationship with for long before this event. So we have a relationship, a connection, a solid alliance with that we know each other. So we start there. And then we listen. We really listen to what the needs are because at the beginning, we're all rushing to help. Oh, you need new clothes? Well, we'll give you
everything.
These many containers of clothes and everything along with it. And that's the beauty of all of this. Until they say, that's over enough. How wonderful is that? That we have sent over enough. So, okay, now let's shift to what is needed. But beyond that, I want to share what I posted on Instagram just a couple of days ago, because for me, it's my personal piko or core of connection to Lahaina in this moment. And then, of course, it broadens to the whole of Maui and everyone of Maui. So, just going down the road in my community, I saw some tents and horse trailers at Church Row, and I really didn't know that there was a collection of anything. There was no sign saying we're collecting for Maui. It was just a small collection. If you went by, you saw it, you went home, you got something, you went to Ace, you bought something, you brought it back. So I went home and I got some money for to donate from my dad, because he's been watching the news and he just turned 90 and he's like, I just want to buy them something. So I took $100 up there, and I had it in an envelope, and I got there, and I said, "Are you collecting for Maui?" And she said, "Aunty Pua," and she knew me from on the Mauna. And the first thing she told me was, "I'm collecting for my brother and those around him." And they were on the mountain. They came to Mauna Kea in 2019. And to be honest, every island turned up for Mauna Kea. But when Maui came in, Maui was fierce. They were fierce from home, and they were fierce on the Mauna. We knew that they were ready to do whatever it would take to support us on the Mauna. In fact, they came up with their kukaili moku images ready. And I never forgot that. And I knew the power that they possessed and brought with them. And as soon as she said that, that was all I needed to say, what can I do to help you, to help them? And, you know, what she was doing in that moment was trying to find a way to purchase the container.
To ship over.
To ship over, and it was going to be over $1,000. And, you know, I'm blessed that as soon as it happened, my fiscal sponsor, 7th Generation, said, "Pua, how can we help you?" And I said, "Just stand by, because you can help me." And they did, and I was able to say, "Let us purchase what you need. You know, let's get that container for you." And that was huge for them because they were on their second 100, you know?
Yeah.
And that just alleviated that worry and that need. And I know there's many stories like that. There's hundreds of stories like that. But that was my story because it all came back to relationships. You do one small thing for somebody, and they're not going to forget it. I didn't forget that. I just said, what can I do because you were on the Mauna? And then what can I do for everybody else? But it's like that line, Mauna Kea is the beacon, the sealant. And it is. And that sealed us all together. The chants say that. Mauna Kea seals us all together. So, yes, some of us have relationships long before that. But the strength of our lahui and the relationships that we have now that came out of Mauna Kea, you better believe if someone who was there needs help, we are going to help as fast as we can. And I feel that is in part why Kona mobilized so fast and sent so many containers over. I think they were on their 3rd or 4th at this point. Because they are the protectors of Mauna Kea. They are the aloha ʻāina. They are the manawahine. And as soon as you say something, they were ready. So I attribute that to Mauna Kea as well. So that part is as it should be. We should be mobilizing. We should be helping. If you were on the Mauna, if you supported the Mauna, now your turn to support Maui. That's how we do it. So I'm seeing that everywhere, and that is what brings, I think, a little bit of our heart space, just softens a bit, doesn't it? And we truly know we're all in this together.
Yeah, I love that. I think we look at it and it's like, they look like they need so much. Like the need is so big. And it's like, what can we do? It is like, even like the best that we can do doesn't seem like enough. But if you can just, like you stepping up and paying for that container was huge for that ʻOhana. And that ripple effect will be also huge. So if we all can do like a little bit, that all adds up to a lot.
And like you were saying, that was just your story, but there's like hundreds of stories like that out there. So like everyone doing their little part and adding it up, and it's gonna be huge.
It really is. And on the way here, I was listening to Ikaika Marzo. You know, he had a live, and he ended that live by reminding people that it's not a sprint. You know, it's a long marathon. We're all in this for the long haul, no matter what we stand up for. But we can't minimize what's happened to them. I mean, the loss is beyond words, and we're over here. So all we're getting is secondhand, third hand, what's happening there. We can't even fathom the loss, and we don't want to minimize that, not here or anywhere else. We're just having a conversation. We're having a conversation of how we can help. But to all of our ʻOhana, the kia'i, the kukulu, the kako'o, the ʻOhana, you know, the protectors, the pillars, the supporters, the families, the communities, we don't know what you're going through, and we don't pretend to know, but what we can do is be on standby. What we can do is be here. And whatever you need when you call out to us, we truly are listening. We're preparing. We're readying ourselves. And when you say the word to whatever that is, and I'm talking about, again, the leadership, the organizers, the families that are making those individual calls, let's reach out and help them as much as possible, and not just for one day, but to keep on helping over time. That's going to be really important in the long run.
Yeah, there is power in the not doing anything right now. If you're not called to do something, the not doing, it kind of goes against, like we were saying, like everything about like the situation makes people want to just jump into action. But
Yeah. And you know, what we learned is that don't take our aloha for weakness. We are fierce in the way that we protect our land, and the way that we protect our people, and the way that we protect our Hawaii. So we are ready to do whatever it takes to support the voices of Maui. And right now we hear the pain, we hear the anger, we see the rage, we see what's happening there. There's so much happening. So what I really try to refrain myself from doing is making comments that I don't have a full picture about. Why is something happening? Why is something not happening? I'm supporting those conversations, but I'm not there again. So I really have to let Maui say what Maui needs to say, and I'm going to support that. But I don't want to stir up something that I'm not well informed about. So I think that's the self-discipline. You know, on the Mauna, we always talked about our self-discipline, our code of conduct. And for me and my accounts, at least on social media, I'm very careful about that. I'm careful about not stirring up negativity or being detrimental. I want to be only a positive light and support. But I'm also, of course, just sitting here, and those voices have to be heard that are coming out of what's happening there. And again, we're a circle of three, having a discussion today, a talk story. And Maui, that's all we're having. And we're saying to you loud and clear, from this ʻāina, Moku Keawe, to Maui Nui a Kama, that we are holding you in our hearts. We're talking about how we can help you when you call. And we're talking about how we can help our communities to help them. So yes, we fill the containers, and then Maui tells us, let's switch to camping gear instead. Okay, let's do that. Let's find generators. Okay, let's do that. So as they get more organized, because can you imagine? It's raw and it's so soon, and we're starting to ask, what can we do? What can we send? It's like so much. It's beyond overwhelming. So we just listen. to what they need, and then we jump into action. And we've seen that. And that's what our communities do. And we're seeing it on every island. And it's just everybody just feeling that. And so it's just about knowing the right timing, what to send, when to send it, when to listen, when to get into action.
Yeah.
The importance of like listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so important to say. Like, we really, I think nobody, unless you're there,
You really don't know.
really don't know. But since everything started, like, it's like hard to think about anything else.
Yes.
You know, it's just.
I mean, when I go home today, we have a container leaving the Parker Ranch Arena today, and I'm going to slip in Mauna Kea shawls, kukulu t-shirts, Mauna stickers, because when we were on the Mauna, we were in our strength. And when I believe they have a shawl or a shirt or a hat or something that empowers them, that helps them to remember what it was like when we were as one, what it was like when they felt their strength and when they were in their full power. I say just wrap yourself in a shawl if you receive one, you know, put on something that creates that inner strength for you as much as possible, and just touch that again, you know, touch that. And hopefully our prayer is that you will be able to, you know, how we say kukia i mauna, stand again as a protector, unshakable. You know, just the essence of that, just the essence of it, and that spirit of that is what we can send there.
Yeah, that's so good. I don't want to like keep comparing Mauna Kea and Maui because, like you said, it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not the same. But one thing about, you know, it's like how you said, it's going to be a marathon, and it's same with like the fight for Mauna Kea. It's like there was a time where it was like on the feed, you know, and it was trending, and people were up there, and there was like a lot of attention to Mauna Kea. But the fight is far from over. It's going,
yes.
you know. So can you share with us just like what, you know, how it's developed over
Sure.
since we're all on the Mauna?
Sure. So for me and my organization and my ʻOhana, you know, we're Mauna 24/7, where we live under the slopes of Mauna Kea. We have stood for many things before Mauna Kea. This for sure is not the first stance that many of us have been in. You know, I started with Kaho'olawe in my junior year of high school. So by far, we didn't step into this as a first time, and neither did a lot of us. But the day we came down from Mauna Kea in 2020, I felt like I just stepped right back into everything that we were doing for Mauna Kea before we went up. It was like we came down and it was that Zoom meeting instead of the public meeting, but we were back in meetings. We were filing hearings and court cases or petitions. I mean, and then for me, the work is to keep Mauna Kea visible every single day. Because once you disappear from the forefront, and we see that in every stance that occurs anywhere, once you disappear from the forefront, it's as if you're not standing anymore. And that's the mentality that the other side counts on. And what drives me is I imagine them saying, oh, Pua Case didn't post today, maybe we can go up. You know, that's just my own mantra to keep me going. But so for us, we stepped right back in, and it's been nonstop ever since. So where we are right now, we know that Mauna Kea Authority and Stewardship came out of the legislature. We know that. We know that my ʻOhana and the Mauna Kea Hui and members of Kahea are stepping in to say that no construction did not begin, which is a hearing that is going to be held, I believe, in October, postponed from August. And there are other hearings that are coming up, and we have a couple of cases on the administrative rules that will not be good for our people. So there's that kind of legal courtroom system kind of avenues that we can't skip. We have to stay involved in that. And then there's the beautiful part of it, which is what projects we can create to be able to be visible, but not just visible, to be able to keep inspiring and activating and spreading the word, not just for Mauna Kea, but for all of our Hawaii. We are standing for everything from Mauna Awakea to Papa Hanau Mokunui Kea, all the way to Holaniku, we are standing. So when we look at it like that, what can we do? So what I see that has been really impactful over the years since we started for Mauna Kea and this particular telescope, because the stance has been long before that. But what I've seen since 2012 that has really, I think, inspired us as a lahui to strengthen and stand is the music, isn't it? Is the arts, the photos, the videos, the collaborations, the stances where we show up for another people, whether it's Standing Rock, whether it's, I just came back from California for their Run for Salmon and the return of the salmon to, you know, the rivers of California, and we go there to help them. They've stood on Mauna Kea. Those alliances we would never have seen if not for Mauna Kea and mountain to mountain, water to water, cause to cause, life way to life way. But really, I feel it's culminated through the rituals, through the ceremonies, through the ahas that that hold us together. It's like a cord that has held us together and will continue to do so. And then the music, I remember when one Nahoku Hanohano, pretty much everything that won was Mauna Kea. And it was like, wow, we are at this place where these musicians, these artists, these photographers, and everyone else that is doing something visually have so much courage to come forward and to speak their truth with the melody that they play or the sketch that they're drawing, and there's courage in that. There's courage in every word, in every stroke, in every note, and we have changed. We have transformed. We have gathered as a collective, and if you are going to be a part of that, you feel it and you know it. I mean, we could not have asked for more than that. We are living in a time when we are a part of that change, and our young people, they are going to stand in even a better way because of what we have initiated and what our kupuna have initiated before us. So it's not one person, it's that vibration. And it's what we're learning through the collective teachings and literally linked back to the top of that Mauna and how they've guided us and shown us the way. And I feel just immensely privileged to be here in this time to experience what we're experiencing right now, because our Hawaii will never be the same. We will never be the same because we have stood up and we have said no more. We will do everything it takes to protect everything that we love. And we have no choice, and there's no turning back for us. So it's moving forward, and part of that extension is really the kokua, I believe, that's happening right now, tied all the way right back to mountain, water to water, people to people, aloha ʻāina, kukulu.
Yeah. I always think about that quote that, what's it? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And like, I think about that, like even, for whatever reason, people went to Mauna Kea, whether it was just for their Instagram photo or whatever it was. Once you're there, you realize that you're standing for something, and it makes
something
you
bigger too. Yeah.
right. Like it makes you really, hopefully, like look within. Like, what am I standing for? What do I believe in? What am I fighting for? Like, why am I here? So, I mean, there are people who definitely knew they know themselves and they know why they were up there. But even for people who are just like, I don't know, I'm just jumping on a plane and I'm gonna go. I just once you're there, or once you make that decision to go, it's like I'm standing for something.
And I think the beautiful thing is, like you said, like the music and the visuals that came out of it, even if you couldn't go, just seeing it, just like spark something in you. It's like, okay, what am I? What are you standing for? And you kind of like in that moment pick a stance and do more research and figure it out. And I think that it's such a beautiful thing that came from it, because all of that awareness and like you said, it's Hawaii's never going to be the same.
Yeah, and we personally speaking, if you've watched our film Standing Above the Clouds, it's a 15-minute film of 3 women and our daughters, inspired by our mothers, and how we stood on Mauna Kea in the courtroom, in the community, and on the frontline action. And we're developing a feature film right now that's a little bit over, I think, an hour long, that's going to really take everyone beyond that, like what happens on the daily and how difficult it is. We can't, we don't glamorize the stance, any stance. It's hard work and it's all consuming. And when it's filled sometimes with a defeat instead of a victory, or you lose that court case, or you're not heard in a meeting, and you feel hopeless and you feel helpless, what that does to your family, that the structure, when you come home from a meeting, and I know our Kanaka out there understand what I'm saying, when you stand for something and you go home, and you're doing this every day, and you're out there facing the government or the university system, the developers, the businesses, all that around you that is not beneficial for what you're standing for. It's very hard on a family. I always say an activist family is held together by a fragile thread. Because when you think about it, life is difficult already. You're trying to think about how to make ends meet. School is a big deal, and then you come home and it's homework time, and then what I gonna cook for dinner, and then jobs is so huge, and then you come home and you give your family the little bit you have left after your whole day has been consumed by what you earn, how you earn your living, and then you make a choice to give that very little bit that you have left after all that to what you're going to stand for. When you completely say, I'm going to do this every day, I'm going to do this because it's my passion, my kuleana, because the ancestors are calling me to do this, whatever reason, then you're giving that last bit. And there are consequences to that. There's illness, there's anguish, there's emotional trauma, there's all of that. And so we want to share that. We want to share what happens within the 3 of our families. And it's difficult, but it's necessary, because there are mothers and daughters standing everywhere around the world. There are many women who are standing, and their daughters are following in their footsteps. And I think what we want our film to say in the end is, I know this might sound strange, but what I'm saying is, don't stand like I do. This should be, I hope, the last generation where we, as women who are in the forefront, go all the way until we have nothing left, and we fall on our knees, and we get sick, or we get tired, and then we stand up again and we go the next day because that's what we know to do. But our young women and our men too don't have to do that. We did it because there wasn't enough of us at the time. And that's what we grew to believe was our pattern. As a leader, you're poor. You have to be poor. You have to be struggling. You have to be doing this every day. You know, there's some things that you think are true. And all my women leader friends are the same. You know, we're all like that. But for me, my message to the young ones is don't do it like that. Take care of your health first. Make sure that you're strong. You don't have to do every minute of the day for what you stand for. Take a break and a breather, because there's not just a few anymore. There are many. And if I could just share that there's a scene in the new film where my younger daughter is in her bedroom, and the film crew goes in, and they're asking her, when you see your mother standing the way she does and doing all the work that she does, what do you think about that? And she says that, I think that I'm not going to do it in the same way. And I just said, yes, yes. And she said, because when my mother says she's going to rest, I think I'm going to rest. She said, that just means she changes position. She might have been standing, now she's going to lie down, but she's just going to continue. That's rest for some of us. And so let's change that in the way that we stand, in the way that we interact. Let's make sure this next generation is healthy, and they're moving forward in that way. And so, I'm looking at how I can change the way my daughters stand, because they're looking at me and saying, Ma, we're not going to do it like that no more.
I'm glad that you are in support of that and you want that change for them, because
it's
then it's
necessary.
It's a marathon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they can't get tired. What would be your advice to people who want to keep showing up for Mauna Kea, but they might not be on this? I mean, it's not like how it was before, where you just go and you stand. How can people still stand for Mauna Kea wherever they are?
Sure. It means staying in communication, first of all. It means following what's happening, because we are doing our best to keep you informed. So one of the things that we have to do as an organization, and the other organizations that are dedicated to the Mauna, is that we have to take the responsibility of keeping you informed. What's happening out there that you can kokua right now. And I can tell you right now, you can go and protect Mauna Kea, and if you haven't signed the petition of no construction, which is close to 500,000, we need to get it to 500,000. Because if you've heard the news media all the way through this movement, we're always described as some Native Hawaiians and our allies. We are not that. We are close to 500,000 of a global community that are saying no to this. So one, we have to get there. Simple things like Mauna Kea Wear Wednesday. Wear something of the Mauna, because the more visible you are, the more they know that we are still standing. Our front line is right here, right now. It's not on the Mauna. And hopefully we don't have to do that unless we have to. We can do what we can right down here to stop it before it goes any further. So I would say, when you see something that moves you, like Mauna merch, there are so many great artists out there that created T-shirts, hats. Nobody's getting rich off of this. We are all just doing our very best to keep everything visible in your face, and not just that, but keep you proud and keep you strong by being wrapped in the Mauna. So support those vendors when you see them. They're out there. Look for them and wear something. That's plenty. Donate when you can. Just be ready. Just follow. Just support those accounts that, again, you trust, that you believe in, that you know sharing information that is credible. And that's plenty. That's plenty. But be ready when the call goes out for whatever that action is, whether it's testimony, whether it's attending a meeting. We have to stay activated, not just for Mauna Kea again, but everything that extends from Mauna Kea. And there's much going on in every community. So if you stood for Mauna Kea, what we said on the mountain was look in your own community for something you can stand for there. And stand in your own community, because trust me, there's issues for every minute of the day here in Hawaii. And all we can do is drive around our moku. We can't go from one state up there to the other if we don't like what's happening. We are here. We are on our island, and we have to protect it at all costs and do whatever we can. And then help each other as we go along, as we see what we're doing right here. We pause everything. We pause everything, and we help the communities in need. And then we stand again, and we move forward again, and we hold each other up. Like we say, it's chest to chest, it's heart to heart, it's ho'olokahie, it's all those things our kupuna have taught us to do. Stand together. Together we rise. We rise like a mighty wave. Aloha ʻāina. Those terms are not empty. They're not empty words. They are rallying terms to keep us together. And I see that happening every day. So let's not take away from that. Let's stay held together by the piko, by the sealant, by the beacon, by the unifier. Let's do our chants and our prayers and our dances, and let's make our art. Let's create that music, that we're all doing. We have 5 exhibits up right now, including Waianae, that is a tribute to the pillars of Mauna Kea and what they stand for. Let's do whatever we can. We have our Kukulu CD, that 100% of the proceeds go right back to Mauna Kea. We will do whatever we can to keep this stance going, do our part as many others do theirs, and support their efforts as they support ours. And isn't that beautiful in this time?
I love that about Hawaii. It's just people rally around their communities. It's just natural. I guess one last bit of advice, what would you say to like the young people who are, we talk a lot about like knowing, like fighting for your places and like taking a stand for what you believe in. What do you think would be some good advice for like the young people?
For the young people, I think of my own ʻOhana. I think of all of the young people I was privileged to stand with, who call me auntie, who are brave. You still have kupuna who are over you, who are above you, who are wise and have much experience. And it's really important to learn how to truly interact with those kupuna and have reverence for them and care for them and learn from them still in this time while you have them. And then I think it's equally important for our young people to uplift one another. Don't tear each other down. It's so easy to do that. And when we see that, it hurts, And I say that in all sincerity. Don't bully each other. Don't talk negatively about each other. Don't criticize each other. This is a time where our Hawaii is more important than any of that. And we want to be, I believe, the best elders that we are learning how to be. We are all elders in training, whatever age we are right now. And how we treat one another, how we treat the ʻāina, the water, how we stand. The young ones below you are watching you. And they are learning from your actions how they are going to conduct themselves. So do whatever you can to live a life that has an element of protocol to it every day, an element of ceremony every day. In every word that you say, watch yourself. When you start to see that you are not in alignment with the heart of the mountain, then pause and say, wait, let's redirect that. It is about self-discipline. It is about living the values and the original instructions of your people. And when we get to a point when we are refining that, we will be unstoppable. But what those on the other side wait for is for us to pull each other apart, to pull each other down. They wait for us to divide. You know, they wait for all that. So let's not let that happen. And that happens if we are not watching and if we are not listening to our own words. So we can do better. We can do better with the way that we interact with one another. I know I'm watching myself too. I'm watching myself right now in the words that I'm saying, that I'm not overstepping, that I'm not saying something that I'm going to get feedback from, that who you think you, or, you know, whatever those words are. Or that you're not going to get comments on after this that are negative. I'm thinking about that in everything that I'm saying because I've lived that. We learn from these experiences that we have, and we're more careful about how we say something. We're more careful about our actions in our community. And that's all about growing into our wisdom. You know, so we're all on a journey of growing into our wisdom. So young people, take care of each other. Stand strong. Stand like you did on the mountain in front of the kupuna when the police were coming. You stood arm in arm, and you stood strong, and you shed your tears, and you lifted your voices in chant and prayer, and you were one, no matter who you were. Young people, they're the hope for our future, and we're doing what we're doing so that they're able to do what they do in the best way that we all can. So let's forgive each other when words are said that are miscommunicated or misunderstood. And let's inquire instead of criticize. Ask questions. Private message. What did you mean by that? I didn't understand that. You know, let's start to interact with one another. Oh, it's so much reverence and respect, you know. I know I'm going on and on,
Thank
but
you for sharing that.
you know, it's like
it's important.
that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. I keep thinking, as you're even talking about standing on Mauna Kea, I keep thinking about standing, like those people in Lahaina, you know, like standing strong, you know, standing in their power. And we have, again, like no idea, but we're just, like standing with you guys and like sending all of our love and getting ready for the call.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listening and waiting.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share, Auntie? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to say, chant those chants that made you strong. Say those prayers. Lean on each other. Lean on all of us. Stand as your mountain stand when you can. And we are all here for you in the best way that we can be. And Maui, you are in our hearts and in our prayers. And that's from every single one. I'm saying the words, but I know I'm echoing the thoughts, the prayers, the words from every single person that has any clue about what's going on. So it's a mighty prayer that we are sending. Our prayers for sure match our supplies. You know,
Yeah.
the help that we are sending you is everything in our power that we possibly could send at this time. And really, we love you, Maui.
All right. Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you, Auntie, for coming on and sharing all of your knowledge and yeah, it's just so beautiful to hear. And you know, we hope for everyone listening, they can take all that in and process that. And yeah, I mean, just stand strong for whatever you believe in, and take all that the words of advice and everything in this episode.
And everybody go visit Mauna Kea Education and Awareness.com. Is that what it is?
Mauna Kea Education and Awareness on Instagram, mkea.info is our website. Protect Mauna Kea is the gathering place of all information, so please follow that. Hāwane Music is posting everything she can gather, but there are also Kako Ohaleakala, ʻāina Momona, Tiare Lawrence. There's some really, really strong social media accounts out there. So, and donate, whether it be money. Follow the lead of Maui, and let's listen to their voice and do whatever they ask.
All right. Thank you again, Auntie. Thank you guys for listening. And please share this episode. Please subscribe to our podcast. And yeah, keep the conversation going. Aloha.
Aloha.